off there. There we go. That's as respectful as you're going to get today. All right, so I am Mike Volkin, lead instructor, Freelancer Masterclass, and today we're doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything questions. If you are a freelancer and want to do have some questions that need to be answered, let's go ahead and ask them now. Put them in the comment box. I'll open up my comment box here. And let's see, live chat, all messages are visible. There we go. All right, just fixing the settings here. All right, so last week I went live on Instagram, answered a bunch of questions, and I asked you if you wanted me to do this again, please go ahead and do so. A lot of you said meet me on social media, on YouTube more specifically, so that's what I'm doing. So if you have any comments or questions about social media, about freelancing, I'll take them now. And I also sent a newsletter blast, which is, if you want to sign up for it, freelancermasterclass.com. It's a free newsletter. I asked the audience what questions they had. In case they couldn't make it live, they can watch a recording of it later. So for those of you who don't know, Freelancer Masterclass is a 9-step course that helps you become a minimum 6-figure freelancer. And there's a lockstep method to that, 9 steps. Boom, 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 right in a row, all the way to the end where you're fully capable of going out and getting your own clients, charging a great rate, keeping clients, keeping a great reputation, and so on and so forth. All right, so I see some people are joining. We do have a question that came in through email that I'll start off by addressing it now until we get some questions that come in. But again, if you're just joining us and you want to ask a question about freelancing, consulting, being a solopreneur, let me know. For those of you who don't know, my name is Mike Volkin. I'm the lead instructor of Freelancer Masterclass. I've built and sold 4 companies of my own, but now I am a full-time freelancer. I do have a startup, obviously, Freelancer Masterclass, but almost all of my time goes to what's called fractional CMO work. So I'll work with companies who need a marketing leader to run their department or create strategy, all that good stuff. All right, so the question I have is, I got through email that I'll address now, and I'll read it here on the screen. Actually, kind of a 2-part question, but it's let's just boil this down to one question here. The question is, should I charge hourly or fixed rate? But let me just address how terrible hourly rate is. Let's just go ahead and go into that for a little bit. You want to avoid charging hourly rate as a freelancer or a consultant because it's a terrible indicator of work output. It's terrible for the client, and it's terrible for you, the freelancer. If you are used to charging hourly, my suggestion is don't be lazy. Hourly is a very lazy way to bill, and it's not scalable for you as a freelancer. Your job as a freelancer is to charge as much money given the amount of time that you have in a workday, and for most of you it's like 8 hours, right? So you are limited to whatever your hourly rate is times 8, right? Because there's 8 hours in workday. So if you charge $100 an hour and you're fully booked for an 8-hour workday, that means you can only charge $800 for that day, unless you want to work more. But again, that's not scalable. If you want to make $5,000 in a day, you literally can't do that charging hourly at $100 an hour. There's not enough time in a day, right? In fact, if you wanted to work a 24-hour day, work nonstop, and charge $100 an hour, your max rate would be $2,400. All right, so you want to avoid charging hourly at all costs, and my suggestion is to do either fixed-based pricing, value-based pricing, or retainer-based pricing. Fixed-based is when you look at a scope of a project, you say, I can build you a website within X amount of days, 30 days, and it'll cost you $5,000. That's fixed pricing. Retainer pricing is saying, okay, this is what you need, Mr. Client, month after month. I'll charge you $2,000 a month to do that every single month. So it's kind of like an ongoing contract. And value-based pricing is for experienced freelancers, and that's something that you want to do if you can bring a lot of value to a company. For example, let's say you're installing a new CRM system for a company, and this new CRM system has the capability to make their company much more efficient. In fact, you can save them 30% of their expenses because you're going to be automating a lot of things for them and getting rid of a lot of expensive APIs. Everything's going to be automated. So you say, okay, I could see that this system I'm going to build you is going to save $50,000 over the course of the year. How about I charge you $10,000 to do it? So it's based on the value that you're giving the client. So there's really no need for them to squabble over price. Hey, you're going to be making them or saving them $50,000 and you're only going to cost you $10,000. That's a no-brainer. All right, so a lot of consultants and freelancers are moving to value-based pricing. But that, again, that's for the experienced freelancer who knows exactly what they can provide and the value that they're going to provide the client. Okay, so that was a good question. If anybody else has any other questions about freelancing, by all means, go ahead and post them there. But let me just finish up with hourly pricing and why it sucks for freelancers. I recently hired 2 writers to write a blog post, actually 2 separate blog posts. They're very similar. I gave them the same criteria, same formatting, same word length, and I hired both of these writers. One of them was $40. Actually, they're both $40, okay? But one of them delivered me a perfectly fine blog post in half the time as the other blog post, as the other writer. So essentially I got 2 very similar blog posts, very similar writers, exact same hourly rate, but one of them delivered it in half the time. So in essence, one of the writers was twice as expensive, even though they had the same hourly rate and getting the same work output. That's why hourly rate sucks for people like me who hire freelancers, okay? Because you don't really know what you're getting. You don't know how fast somebody can work. You don't know the quality that work that can be produced in that hourly rate, okay? So be sure to, if you're hiring a freelancer, be sure to go deeper into what that hourly rate is. Don't measure that person just because their hourly rate is, say, $40. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be better than somebody who is $80 an hour, okay? Hourly is a terrible indicator of work output. In fact, when a client asks you what your hourly rate is, you should avoid answering that until you've built in all the value that you can provide into that hourly rate. Because if they just see, it's almost like looking at the price of on a shelf of some product. You see the price first, and all of a sudden you make subconscious inferences on that price, whether it's too expensive or too cheap, before even looking at that product. You don't know what value that product can provide. It's the same for you as a freelancer. If you tell the client, yeah, I'm $50 an hour, but you haven't told them why you're $50 an hour, then that's fine. That's not a good indication of your value. And you're going to have a hard time justifying that cost because people go towards negativity first. They go towards the pessimist side. And it's your job to build them up to that before they have a chance to even get pessimistic. So when you're on a discovery call with a client, it's very important that you talk about your value first before you ever talk about pricing. Okay? So it's a good question on hourly pricing. And there is another question here about billing, when to send an invoice. My suggestion is to send an invoice at the same time every month if you're working with a client monthly. And always try to collect a minimum of 50% of the project up front. All right, so if you have a project for $2,000, you want to charge them $1,000 up front. If they're not willing to do that, they're not a good client, so you do not continue. Okay, there's too many people, too many clients out there that will try to negotiate with you after the fact. After you delivered something, they might say, okay, well, this isn't worth the value, or I don't want to pay you at all. In that case, you're at a 100% loss. And this is easy to justify. A lot of people will say, well, I don't pay my employees up front. Why should I pay my freelancers? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. As an employer, to take on an employee, there's a lot of costs associated with that. Not only that, there's a lot of paperwork and legality associated with managing that employee. You as an employer have an obligation a state obligation and a federal obligation to provide that employee with some benefits. As a freelancer, you don't have that. You are just as disposable to them as their meal that they may be eating. As sorry as that sounds, they can get rid of you without any legal obligation. So you want to take that money up front as a result of that, and that's the way you can present that to the client, saying, listen, because I'm a freelancer, you don't have very much legal obligations to me, and my time is valued. Therefore, I need to see that you're able to provide at least 50% up front. And I've got a note here that says my voice is cracking. I don't check your microphone. This is just a regular room. I've never heard that term before. I've never been told my voice is cracking. So sorry about that. If you hear me crackling, then maybe try a new microphone. Okay, so any other questions about freelancing? I'll wait another 15 seconds until some comes in. It says they're static. Thanks, Jackie. Not sure what to say. Maybe I'll try next time. You know what? I'll try to maybe get a better microphone, but this is like the 4th or 5th time I've done this. So I've never had that comment before. Hopefully, if there's other people that are complaining about the sound, please let me know, and maybe maybe it's just you, Jackie. I'm not sure. I've talked to you several times before, and I never had this problem. So good to see you again, Jackie. Hope you're doing well. Jackie's a former student and graduate of Freelancer Masterclass. I hope to be doing these often, at least once a week, so let me know if these are helpful to you. And of course, you can always send questions in advance through email or through the newsletter. Just respond to the newsletter. We don't do one of those no-reply newsletters. Thanks, Becky. We don't do one of those no-reply newsletters, so it's a very open line. If you get a newsletter and you have a question about it, or you have a question for us for one of our live sessions we're doing, by all means, just write back and we'll add it to our queue to answer on live social media. Okay. Hopefully you can hear my newborn daughter in the other room crying, but hopefully you can't hear that. Looks like we're all out of questions here, unless anybody have any questions. I know Jackie's already had plenty of opportunity to talk to me, so she's probably all out of questions for now. But in the meantime, I'll wait another 10 or 15 seconds, and if we don't have any more questions, I'll meet you guys here next week. So let me just hold on here. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is just a fake background. It's not real. It is in Hawaii. I'm in Northern California to answer your question. Santa Rosa, Northern California. Sonoma County, otherwise known as wine country. That's where I reside. Okay, it looks like we're all out of questions. By all means, if you want to see more, thanks. If you want to see more of me or of any other instructors, I'm going to try to bring on some guests here in the future. By all means. That is going to be super fun. We're going to bring on some, in fact, if you're a freelancer who's been through Freelancer Masterclass and you want to join me on kind of a Q&A, or I can interview you. I've actually had this request before. Some prospects that haven't been in the Masterclass want to talk to students who are in the Masterclass. So, okay, I will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.